places that are pretty remote. Do you want to do the next one for me, Mr. Lester? Okay, this is this is one of our exam rooms. They're just like any doctor's office. The one thing about appointments with us is we schedule them every 30 minutes. The patient never feels like they're rushed. They're able to talk about anything that they would like. The former director, Mel, always said it's always more than a sore throat, meaning there could be a family problem or something outside that is causing the patient to feel down. Anyway, these are the different services, different kinds of ailments, et cetera, that we receive. We do flu vaccines every year. We're no longer doing COVID vaccines. That has really dropped off, but we did do that for a time. We're still doing COVID testing. If you want to go to the next one for me. Thank you. Okay. This is our a panoramic. Over there in the far right, that does a full mouth X-ray for our dental people so they can see exactly what's going on. It's a lot better than a regular bite wing exam that you normally would get in your dental office. Okay, go to the next one. Okay, this is one of our mental health offices. We have 2 mental health counselors on staff that are there every week. We also have a volunteer psychiatrist that comes 2 times a month, and he does the medication checks and that kind of thing. Okay, this is our building. You can't really see anything, but anyway, we're there. We're right in the parking lot with the School of Health Sciences. Now, their faculty, their PA instructors, physical and occupational therapy. We also have someone at the college that has orthopedic experience. They all volunteer at the clinic. They're just a handful of the volunteers that we have. The majority of our volunteers are from outside the community. We have 3 retired MDs and 1 that's still practicing. But anyway, that's our office. Okay, this is the physical therapy room that the instructors and the students, where they see our patients. Our patients are referred by the medical provider, and then they do an initial visit with physical therapy to determine whether or not they would be a good candidate for physical therapy. And then they're seen every week. Okay, this is our staff. There are 4 of us that are full-time, and then 1 is a part-time nurse. It's there a couple of days a week and also covers for our nurse manager when she's on vacation. Let me see what all is in here. The statistics that you're going to see are from July 1 to January 30, or January 1st to July 31st. This was information I got together for our August board meeting. So far this year, we provided over $349,000 worth of medical services for free to our patients. And the next one. That's us again. Is that us? Seems like is the medications on here?
Let's see, let's go back to a second. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
My mouse is having issues this morning. It's too early.
It's Saturday.
Well,
We don't really need that. What I'm going to tell you is that we now see approximately, right now we've seen almost 300 patients so far this year, and of course, we're continuing to, throughout the end of the year. Since we do have an oral surgeon that comes and does extractions, and that's why having that full mouth x-ray is so important. Right now, we are getting up toward flu season. We will be providing flu vaccinations in the first part of October. And I'm trying to think of what else is coming along. Of course, we've just restarted our physical therapy for the year. We always have a lapse in the summertime when the school is closed. However, like I said, we have 4 medical doctors that volunteer, and then a variety of nurse practitioners and physician assistants. And they are, there's probably about 14 or 15 now. We're open 5 days a week, 8:30 to 5. We close an hour for lunch. We are just like a doctor's office, like I said. The only issue is all of our providers are volunteers. So, somebody might be sick one day, or they might be on vacation for 2 weeks. Excuse me, you're looking at, it's not always, we don't always have providers every day. But for the most part, we do until summertime. It really hurts us. But anyway, the reason I'm here is we get a few calls from Russell County, especially for dental, which is a problem for everybody. Even Smith County, there are not enough dentists. And it's not just because of the insurance, it's because there are not enough dentists. It doesn't matter if you've got the money or whatever. But we would, love to add you to our service area if you're interested in having us, or there's no obligation for anything. We do a fundraiser at least one a year, and we would probably ask merchants in this area to maybe donate something for our silent auction. But by no way, shape, or form are you required to give us any money. We also provide prescriptions, free prescriptions, for insulin. It's amazing how much insulin costs for our patients. And these are people that wouldn't get it, because some of them the insulin scripts are about $8,000 a month. So anyway, if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
How would you go about doing this? Would you bring your mobile unit over here? Is that what you have in mind?
Yes, but now, see, we have seen, if someone's got an emergency, I don't care where they are, and I'm talking about a dental emergency, a broken tooth, and they're in agony, because we have seen some people from Russell, and they drive over. It is a 50-minute drive to our office from Lebanon, but now that's not taking in, drill and everywhere else, so. But we did say that, in our board said, well, we can take our mobile over there, because I think the health wagon, are they still coming once a month? Jonas?
I think they come up to Food City. Yeah, once a month.
So, and we have not done this before, but we have portable dental chairs that we could bring with us if that became an issue, but none of the people that have come over from Russell have had a problem with driving over there.
So it's just the Russell people. We just need to do
Well,
PR campaign saying this service is available.
Right, the services are available to let people know. I'd like to, put it on our Facebook page and our website. I don't know if you have any billboards from Lamar over here, but they do our billboards for us, and we would definitely get the word out. And hopefully you all will too. I'm going to leave some more brochures with you, and of course my cards are there.
Well,
But anyway.
I will tell you, I had a gentleman in drill use your services.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and the conversation came up, and see, we have community centers. I've got one in Swords Creek and one in Drill that would be a prime utilization
Oh, yeah.
spot. And I'd like to, see maybe once a month or once a quarter or something like that. Have something set up there at the community centers where we could advertise it prior in advance.
Right, that would be the thing to do.
And people could get utilization or services for that. Because I was just talking to Miss Di here, Tara, and telling her about a lot of the transportation needs, which we're working on that with our transit system. But a lot of people don't have a way to
Yeah.
get there. But if we could make it more convenient for them, and we could utilize our community center operational centers for our elderly and our young
Right.
people and stuff like that. So that's what I was geared toward.
Right, and that's a possibility, but for right now, if they need dental, they're gonna have to come to the, and we probably will not have, the mobile services set up until after the first of the year. One of our physician assistants is a Methodist minister, and he is getting ready to retire from one of the nonprofits that he runs, and he's the one that's gonna be coming over, him and a nurse, and he's hoping to be able to go out somewhere every whip stitch.
Well, I think what you all do is absolutely wonderful, and
Thank
thank you for coming over here and
Sure.
speaking with us. I can see a lot of need in our area for
Mm-hmm.
this. I would love to see you all come.
Thank you. And there's no charge. Nobody pays anything. So I think, don't you all have the federally qualified medical centers, like the ones where you pay on a sliding scale?
Yes.
Okay. But it doesn't matter if you have zero income, you still have to pay $25.
Yeah.
So,
Like
So you-
Mr. Eaton said about the community centers, I feel like if you could cover Swords Creek, Cleveland, and Dant, that kind of gets those areas that are more off of the 4-lane, that maybe people who don't drive or
Right.
can't get a ride, they would probably benefit more from that.
see, that's our problem. I mean, we have that links, we have the thing through the senior center, but, you don't know when you're gonna have to go. They'd like to have 24-hour notice, and it's not always gonna happen. And plus, we have people that have rides scheduled, and then something happens and the ride doesn't show up. So, and they can't get to the appointments. So so they end up paying $8 for a cab. And that's just in the town of Marion. So, anything else? I'm gonna leave you, a stack of pamphlets, and if it's a go with you all, I can go ahead and take, our changed bylaws to add Russell County.
It's a
And-
go. Do we need a motion on that?
I don't think we need, if it's consensus of the board that this is something we want to see,
Right.
I think everybody is shaking their head up and
Great.
down, yes.
Well,
think
I
we
need
need a
a
motion,
point person. Who,
Mr.
is that gonna be
Lester,
you? We got a lot of work to do.
He's their one
Lester.
employee.
But listen, thanks again. Do you guys have any questions?
Susan, I'll get with you, yes.
Okay, much
I'll
more.
prevent you.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you coming over. Okay. Next up is approval of the minutes. If you've had an opportunity to look
Chairman.
at them, we need to,
Chairman,
yes, ma'am.
if you don't mind.
Sure.
Was there a motion to approve the amended agenda?
Yes, there was.
Was there?
We just did
We,
we did the amendment, not the agenda.
we did,
Approved the amendment.
we approved the amended agenda
You approved the
as a
amended agenda.
substitute motion.
I apologize, I was trying
Yeah.
to,
No,
technology.
we're
issue.
good.
Okay.
And I think, who made the motion? Rebecca?
To
And Lou.
approve the agenda that we had.
Oh, yeah.
And then we did the substitute
Tara,
motion.
yeah. Tara made the motion, I think.
And David seconded.
And David
David
seconded the
seconded,
amended
yeah.
agenda. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, sorry.
Okay, no problem. We have a problem with that, Jen. I got it backwards last time. At any rate, the August 3rd minutes and August 22nd minutes, can we do those together, Will?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second to approve the unapproved August 3rd, 24, and August 22nd minutes. Any discussion on this matter?
Mr. Chair, I'll need to
Yes, ma'am.
abstain on the 22nd,
22nd.
please.
That is noted, yes. All in favor of this motion signify by saying aye. All opposed, like sign. Please note that Lou wasn't present on the, she abstained on the 22nd. Next up is approval of expenditures. If you've had an opportunity to look at those, I'll entertain a motion to approve the expenditures for this month.
I'll make a motion to pay the bills.
Have a motion to pay bills. I need a second.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? If
Mr.
not,
Chair,
all in favor? Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I have had a request from a lady down my way that, with the library board, that wasn't in this payment of bills. Will that be taken care of by the library, the employee? I don't know how that works. I looked in the,
That, Mr. Lester, you're taking care of that, aren't you?
Yes, yeah,
Ms. Levy?
we're reviewing that payroll issue right now.
okay, because I had a
Yes.
question on that, and I looked through this, so there wasn't a payment to her.
That is
Okay,
correct.
thank you.
Yeah, they're reconciling the time, I think, is what it
Yes,
is.
that is correct.
Okay. All in favor of this motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. There are none. Okay.
All right.
Now we're up to our committee appointments. Here we go.
Yeah, I would like to, make a change on the tourism committee, Jennifer Chembley to Karen McLaughlin.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second to replace Jennifer Chumley with Karen McLaughlin. Okay. I'm trying to think does this need a regular majority vote to do that, to remove and replace?
Yes.
Okay, regular majority vote. That's all we need on this, okay. Any discussion on this motion?
Mr. Chair, I just have a question. I know this is District 3's choice. I just need to ask the question, per the authority rules, does this person fit the the rules of the authority? That's a business, something to do in the tourism business, I don't know. Just asking.
Mr. Lesser, can you issue?
Yeah. As the committees go, it's at the will of the Board of Supervisors, let me just go that way. Now, the terms for the tourism is not very restrictive, but it is up one to the Board of Supervisors. If they are a community, they have a business, or they're involved in a community event, or tourism, or retail, or any of those, or community leader, that's up at the decision and discretion of the Board of Supervisors.
Okay, so this doesn't apply to the authority per se of
No.
the Heart of Appalachia?
No.
Okay,
Authority
gotcha.
has its own
This is just
criteria.
this is the
Just
county.
committee. This is
And I
committee.
apologize for asking
Just
that.
committee.
No
No, you're fine.
embarrassment, I want to do that. Thank you.
No problem. Okay. If there's no further discussion, all in favor of this motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. There are none. Okay. Do you have anything else under this, Lonzo, or is that
We had the Crooked
Road?
The
Yeah.
Crooked Road Board of Directors, yes, sir.
I saw that. Is this a new appointment, or is it?
It is.
I've never seen that one before.
We're trying to
has
get
not
on
been.
the Crooked Road.
Well,
I don't know if that makes sense.
I mean,
The alternate Crooked Road.
Yes.
Yes.
we'd love to
We're
be a
trying to
part
get
of
off the
Crooked Road.
spur of it. And actually, it's good for the county because it brings in a lot of volume in traffic. Even if you're an alternate, it gives the opportunity for the towns to showcase it. I know that the town of Lebanon, and I'm not speaking for the towns, they're trying to get the theater on it. They're also the town of Honaker is trying to get their stages on it. So we're trying to add our showcase our county and get them
So
on the
this is
tour.
kind of like first step in
Yes, sir.
being able to change the route of the Crooked Road.
We got to have a vote on the board. And
Did we
And-
have any applications come in for that
well,
position?
usually, and then I'm making a recommendation. Usually, and one of the recommendations from the Crooked Road was, of course, Shiloh Little. She is the tourism coordinator, and she's linked in with the Friends of Southwest and the Heart of Appalachia. She's already linked in on all three of them, so she's the promoter, and she can keep up with the agendas and start adding our events.
I'll make a motion to put Shiloh Little on that.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
A motion and a second. Any discussion on this matter? If If not, all in favor signify by saying
I
aye.
do want to clarify, if you don't mind, the real crooked road, I'm sorry, is Route 58.
That is
we're the alternate piece.
Yes.
And I do think that is a large compliment to Ms. Little, or Ms. Brooks, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry,
And,
Ms. Brooks. Yeah, thank you for,
And our county, that they have specifically asked to send a representative. Ms. Brooks is a DMO, which is a destination marketing organization that makes us real here, in other words. So I think it's a big compliment. So my compliments to the county and this board for saying yes, and to Ms. Brooks.
you know, we've been trying to get on this and partner with them for years. We've had them in here at previous ones, and the pandemic hit, and we actually, they were looking at putting in kiosks along the routes to, move at the voice at the county lines to be able to designate certain areas like, that we can put on here for, to showcase only the towns and the counties,
Okay. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor of this motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. There are none. Okay, we're up to citizen comment period. Jacob, if you could get our sign-in sheet, please. Okay, we're going to call you up here based on the way you signed in here. You'll have 3 minutes. Mr. Lester's the timekeeper. If he can get his clock going here. Sandy Hess.
Sandy Hess from Source Creek. I have two issues to address. The first one, I spoke at this before in front of the other board, 2 years ago on the issue of question and answers that come before the board. Here we are 2 years later, another new board.
And we still don't have anything to do that with. So I understand you have to keep order in a meeting, can't be chaos. And it is easy when someone's standing up here for you all to just give a quick answer. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. But it really is a serious issue. We need to have some kind of forum so that the public and the board can discuss things. Now, whatever that is, I don't know. If it's take questions to the attorney and give us an answer the next meeting. But it's been addressed over and over, and so I would still like to see that, something done about that. But the other thing I wanted to discuss, which I see now is actually, I hope it addresses it, it's on the agenda under the request for the litter pickup. It's an issue. I appreciate the community service workers that come and pick up all the litter, but they leave it beside the road where I live, our road. The litter's been picked up multiple times, but the first round is still sitting there. The bags are orange, but the sun has drawn the color out of them. They've been laying there so long. One place, there's a wide spot where people like to dump stuff. Well, they've picked the litter up and bagged it up. They left it there for probably a month. The dogs have drug it back out. They come back, picked it up again, bagged it up. It's still there. It's all over the county like this. So I'm not sure whose responsibility that is, if it falls to the sheriff's department. I know we did appoint a litter officer at some point, which I've not heard from since the night that he was appointed. I kind of would like to know what that, an update on what they're doing. But it's an issue. It's all over the county. I mean, all the way from Drill through to Buchanan County, all over every back road you go on, there's these orange garbage bags everywhere. So I would just like to see, and I hope that this is maybe something that is going to be addressed on number 11. But
It is.
But it needs to be addressed. So, but that's,
We'll check into that.
Thank you.
I
I
wasn't aware that it wasn't being picked up
no,
on a regular basis.
it's been months. I mean, like I said, my road especially, it's been months that those bags have been sitting there, and, and now the weeds are growing up over top of them. So when VDOT comes to mow, they can't mow around them, and they can't mow through them. So, but it's all over the county. But I appreciate you.
Thank you, Sandy. Jared.
Good morning, y'all. I'm sure you've heard me talk about this a couple times before, but after the landfill fiasco, everybody that was involved with it wanted to try and help find spots in the county where we could help financially and so forth. And I think one of those is, again, the liquor on Sunday sales. And I've talked about this before. You've heard several of these points before, but I think it's prudent to rehash them from time to time just to make sure this doesn't slip through the cracks again. But Sundays comprise 52 days out of a 365-day year. That is 14%. So for 14% of the year, we are artificially hamstringing every restaurant, gas station, and bar in Russell County, even the grocery stores. And I understand some of the towns within the county have already gotten provisions to get around this, but the laws from the late 1940s, I think the optics of trying to bring in prospective businesses, prospective residents, a new tax base are just terrible, having a prohibition era law on the books. They come in wanting a beer with their meal in a Mexican restaurant on a Sunday, and they're told no. They go in the gas stations, and they wonder why there's chains on the coolers, and these folks wonder if they've been stuck in a time machine. And I really can't see any positive benefit in retaining this law. I mean, there is no serious secular argument against it, and the theological ones you'll hear against it are frankly fairly thin. But it's hurting our businesses, particularly in places like Castlewood, where Wise County's right over the line there, so we're actively repelling revenue that could help us. We're also hurting our businesses, which is costing us more indirect revenue as a county. So I'd like to run through some spitball numbers I made up once again. Let's assume businesses across the county sell $10,000 in alcohol on an average Sunday. If we tax that at 5% on Sundays only, after removing this ordinance that's an outright ban, that would be $26,000 a year. That would be enough almost to get a maintenance employee to help with the parks or litter pickup or whatever we need, or just wad it up and stick it in the county's coffers. But, I mean, even if we didn't levy a tax, repealing that ordinance is still a good idea because it's hurting our businesses for no gain. It's actively interfering with their ability to compete with neighboring counties, and Russell County is essentially an oblong rectangle. There is nowhere in this county that you can be and not be in another county in 15 minutes. So it doesn't help us, and it can hurt us. I know this has come up a lot before, and it's just kind of fizzled out, but I shudder to think what it has cost the county in revenue and how much damage it has done to our businesses. So I'd really encourage y'all, whenever the lawyer's report gets back on what the ordinance is and how to change it, to do so. But I thank you for your time. Y'all have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you, Jared. Michelle Vance.
Good morning. I am here on behalf of our company. This is my daughter-in-law, Leah, Something Special Auctions. We are female-owned, as you can see. We've been in business for about 3 years now under the auction umbrella. What I'm here today to ask is that you make it mandatory in all county departments that an RFP is sent out when there is an auction that is going to be going on. Meaning, with our treasurer's office for delinquent tax sales. Right now, how it's done is Alicia sends over all the information to a company called TACS. That company then uses the same person that they have used for many, many years as their auctioneer. There's no RFP sent out. It's just put in. The auctioneer is responsible for setting up signs at every single piece of property that the county is going to have sold off. That particular auctioneer in the past couple years has not put a sign up at every piece of land. So we're losing money as a county, number one, because some people don't read the newspaper. So they don't know that these things are going up for sale. So you're losing people that can come in and bid on this land. And as I understand it right now, the way it reads in the bylaws is that it is under the discretion of the department head of who they use for these auctions. But in recent years and even in past years, there are several other auction companies here in Russell County. I'm not the only one. Mr. R.D. Sneed has one. I've worked with R.D. on several occasions on auctions. You also have Amen Auction. You also have Clinch River. There's several. Instead of going to the same person every single time that the county has something that we're auctioning off. I think we're losing business, we're losing money, because that person has become so comfortable with what they're doing. They're just getting their money and they're going on their way. But there were several, and I know it for a fact that there were several pieces of property that didn't have any kind of signage on them, because I personally went out and looked at them. So that's basically what I'm here to request. As a small business, it's very hard to get into it. It's especially hard as females to get into the old boy thing. Luckily, Mr. R.D. has taken us under his wing, and we've worked with him on several occasions. But it is very hard. We are, a budding company, and right now we do the auction for the Board of Education. And for the Board of Education, we do that free of charge. So we do that free of charge because myself, Leah has 4, but I have 7 grandchildren that are in our school system right now. So that is our way of giving back to our community. So, and this is an entire family project. It's not just Leah and I. My husband, her husband, my son, my daughter, my son-in-law, even the kids get in on it. The kids love it. So if you guys could, look into that and maybe put that, on the agenda. I know I missed the agenda to do a whole presentation with Mr. Alonso, but we'll get that on later. So if you guys could look into that and let me know, I'd appreciate it. You have anything to add, Tom?
No, I
Okay.
appreciate your time.
Thank you, Michelle. We'll look into that. Next, I have Wesley Lawson.
Good morning. My name is Wesley Lawson. I'm here representing St. Paul Fire Department. So, Chair, members of the board, January we came to ask for your permission to operate as an EMS agency as a BLS first response. Today, I'm here to notify you that as of the 22nd of August, or the 21st of August, sorry, we were licensed as an EMS first response agency. So the paperwork's done from that perspective. We're not yet running as EMS first response because we've got to get the software now. The contract's signed, and I'm waiting on the company to do that. So once we get through that, but I wanted to come and give you all the feedback. We're given guidance and stuff from the state of, you're physically in Wise County, they need to sign paperwork, but we went through both sides and also our town council. But I just wanted to come back to let you all know that we have completed the paperwork, we're officially licensed, and yeah, so it's been a little over a 2-year project that we have completed. So I wanted to come and share that with you all and to give you our thanks and appreciation.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We appreciate that. R.D.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen of the board, and Mr. Lester and Mr. Wampler. I'm going to just touch base for a second on the solar issue. I want to make sure that I'm looking in the right place or if found what I need to. But from what I can see, what we have on the books now, when I Google it, it says Russell County Ordinance, revenue share for solar energy. That's the only thing we've got on the books right now. Is that okay? And that's okay. But I think it's pretty obvious that at some point in time, whether it's now or in the future, we're probably going to have some solar businesses here, perhaps in the county. And some people are for it, and some people are against it, and I understand all that. But I do think that we probably ought to beef up the ordinance some. I don't feel like it maybe protects us as much as we might want it to. I've looked real hard, and some others have too, for example, at Washington counties. And I would encourage you all to take a look at the Washington County ordinance. I think that one's got a lot of teeth in it. And of course, they've had some experience here recently, as we've all read, with some solar companies. Those companies have been dealing with that ordinance, and it didn't seem to be anything that they couldn't swallow. So I would just simply say that you might want to take a look at that. In looking at that ordinance, we think maybe it might need a couple of little changes. But if you all wanted to do that, if we could help you anyway, we'll be glad to try.
RD, you looked at the revenue sharing
Right.
ordinance, but did you look at, and I'm speculating on where you're going with this, on one of your concerns, did you look at the sit-in agreement that has some of the environmental restrictions and some of the setbacks?
I haven't found
It's a
anything.
two-part. It's a
Okay.
revenue sharing agreement and a sit-in agreement.
Okay.
And when the county did this, we knew that solar is coming in, and we are discussing with a few of the companies.
Right.
We worked with Virginia Energy and developed this, and the state guided us along with, multiple agencies. So, I mean, that's up at the pleasure of the board, but you need to look at the sit-in agreement and then see what's like.
Okay,
Yeah.
I will try, if I have trouble
I'll
finding
send it to you.
Okay,
How's that?
I appreciate that. Thank you all.
Thank you, RD. Charles King Jr.
Good morning. First thing, I'm gonna agree along with RD. I think there's a solar project already in the making right now, close up to where my dad's residence is. And I've already seen, a company there that I think's doing the risk management study for the thing around, and they've been all round up by the house there. And, I'd appreciate if you'd send me those things. I think that, everybody in the county
Give me
needs to be aware of this. And, everybody needs to be in on it, to know what's going on, and plus the most important thing, how can the county benefit from it? Because each of us as citizens should be able to benefit from this. The second thing I want to talk about is fish farm. I see there's a thing about the road for the DOT. Has anybody got any concrete proof that this thing's gonna come into being? I want y'all to think about this. A company from Dubai who has investors in Singapore was going to, pre-COVID, invest $288 million in a facility to produce salmon that will be turned into fish food. I'd say after COVID, we're probably looking at $400 million in construction costs, aren't we? Common sense wise. Second thing, it's created up there at the college. The land that was used was part of the foundation. I'm Dr. King's son. He created the foundation. That's not what he wanted. He was totally against that happening. There's a hole over there. Now you got the students' apartments or dorms are across 19. Has anybody noticed that? I travel through there every morning. Guess what I see? Students trying to get to the college across 19. Just a matter of time before we have an accident up there, isn't there? Somebody gets hit. I'm here to question the whole thing. Is Russell County gonna put any more money into this? I mean, just think about it. It doesn't make no sense, does it? Not to me, anyway. I'll be quite honest. Doesn't make a lick of sense to Dad. He's 91, but his mind is clear. And he can't make any sense out of it. And idea was for the property to be used, first, he got it for a buffer for the college. The second thing, he wanted the dorms, if they were built, to go in there. It just makes sense. Students could walk right over. I don't know who's behind all this planning. I don't know who's come up with this idea, but it don't look too good, does it? Once again, I certainly hope you all, as Board of Supervisors, take into consideration before you fund any more money toward this project. I think I saw where maybe another $1 million is gonna be funded. They're already in $40 million up there in construction, and what have we got? Don't look like about much of nothing. I'd be very surprised if the facility ever comes into being. Then what are we gonna be left with? So we probably need to be looking into the future, since part of that's in Russell County, to figure out how we can do something with what the mess that's there. Does that make sense? I appreciate your time.
Thanks, Charles. Okay, that finishes the list, but if there's anybody in the audience that wants to make a comment, I'll give you a 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, closed. Okay. Next is constitutional officers. I don't see any constitutional officers here, so we're down to the county attorney request, Lonzo.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Chair, mic working? All right, I'll just speak up for now. I've got several items on the county attorney report. First, we'll start with the opioid abatement authority projects. The C-Corps principals sent in some edits to the MOU, which was redrafted given the last board meeting. That came in Thursday. Lonzo and I haven't had time to sit down and review those. They did make some significant changes, and so we're gonna have to review that together in the coming week. That project will move forward based off of that discussion with Lonzo, and he can communicate to the board the changes in the agreement that they have proposed. Isaiah House, I have not been able to move forward on that yet due to some competing priorities within the county. However, intend on making contact with Ms. Nunley there at the Isaiah House. We've had 8 FOIAs this month since I was here with you last, 2 on Dayton Fire Department, 2 regarding purchase policies for the county. We've got 1 regarding certain financial audits that the county's had in the last 7 years, and then 1 regarding communications going back to 2017. These are extensive. They cover a long period of time, and they also have a 5-day response period, 12 if you add an additional 7 days. So we've had 8 of those in the last month. Those have been taking up a significant amount of time to respond to. Third on my list, the Planning Commission. As you all know, I'm also attorney for the Planning Commission for the county. Biggest thing there, I think the board's aware of this, we lost our subdivision agent, Crystal White, resigned from that role about a month and a half ago. That's still, I guess, a gap, a HR gap for the county that we need to fill. And so without a subdivision agent, the risk for the county is that when folks need to subdivide their land or have, any approval from the Planning Commission or the board, they could lose some time. It's a month to get it into the system and be heard by the Planning Commission. Then it has to be put on the board's agenda for approval, final approval. And so we don't want to get in a situation where we're letting these stack up without an agent. And so just know that that's an HR gap that you guys have to resolve for the Planning Commission to operate normally. I believe there is a candidate that the Planning Commission has recommended, but it's not on the agenda today, so that'll have to be an agenda item at a later time. On the Planning Commission point, so as I've noticed in the last couple months of being your county attorney, you all get a list of projects from the Planning Commission. Just the for example, you'll get something like this. Just a document saying what each proposal was or application that was before the Planning Commission. What I'm going to recommend is that we segregate this list into exempt projects and non-exempt projects. And I will detail that in all your future board packets. So you'll have a list of applications that are exempt from your subdivision law. And that way, when you all come in and look at your agendas and look through the projects, you can say, Planning Commission deemed these all exempt. You have 3 basic exemptions in your ordinance. And so I'll list those outright and then put the exemption in so you can see why. Oh, this is because it's a small tract of land. Oh, this is because it's an adjoining parcel and owned by a family member and so forth. And then you'll also have a list of non-exempt projects, which you all may analyze more critically or, may want to take up one by one. And so that's kind of the process I would recommend to you going forward. And we can just, it's a work in progress between me and this new role and the board. And so that's probably the clearest way we could do it. And I don't think we need a motion, but that's what I intend on doing in the future meetings, just for your all's clarity and ability to work through them. Let's see. Dayton Fire Department is another major issue that I've been working on in the last month. And so, there's been differing opinions flying around the community about what this is all about. I'll tell you, when I was first brought up to speed on what was going on in Dayton, it was obvious that there was a critical gap in some training and also organizationally with the Dayton Fire Department. In no way, shape, or form did the mutual aid agreement that the county executed with Castlewood, St. Paul, and Cleveland dissolve the Dayton Fire Department in any way, shape, or form. But I think the county has a priority and a duty to make sure that the fire services and emergency services to Dayton and to the people of Dayton and to their structures, they're trained and organized and insured. We had some issues from other departments in the county responding on calls with Dayton, and I think there was a reluctance amongst the other fire chiefs and some of the other fire departments to continue that without a clear rule and a clear contract as to who is responsible for the scene when an emergency does arise. And so for now, under the mutual aid agreement that the county's executed with Cleveland, St. Paul, and Castlewood fire departments, they are going to be primarily responsible for all fire emergency calls in the Dayton service area for a temporary period of time until Dayton can take corrective action on some of their organizational issues, as well as some of the operational and training deficiencies that the county administrator who serves as the emergency management director found. But I think we'll work with them in every way we can to see them rapidly back into, solid organizational and operational structure. And I'll commit to working on that. But as you know, that took up a chunk of time this last month to try to work through that. I'm happy on any of these points to answer any questions that the board may have, but that'd probably complete my update this morning.
Thank you, Will. Mr. Lester, it's your turn.
Good morning, everyone. First, start off with the county administrator reports, and he'll answer a lot of the questions that were in the audience and et cetera. First one is on the reports is the Russell County Road Reporting System. That's in the agenda every month. Take a look at the requests that we get and the issues that we have from VDOT. Take a look at those within your area. Also, the second one, again, is VDOT, the monthly road reporting system. That is a comprehensive list of what work they have performed and what their status is and what they're planning on in the future. So the only action item on there from the VDOT, which is on the agenda, is the resolution of support for the abandonment 791 on Deep Forest. And I'll get into that when we get into the request because we have to have a motion on that one. Next, again, is VDOT. This is on the Russell County Coal Road Improvement Advisory Committee, which is a committee that's made up that Mr. Hensley sits on, and of course VDOT is, and county residents sit on, that go through the major roads and repairs through the county for the year. They're also ones that works on the 6-year VDOT plan. Now, as on there, as you'll see, we looked and reviewed, 8 projects, and Mr. Hensley is actively working with VDOT. He will actually be in the future riding with VDOT on these. VDOT, what they do, they give a recommendation based off of priorities of like access, safety, control, public safety, through routes. They have a punch list of the top 5 things that selects a route. And it's gotta have volume, it's gotta have number of houses, it's gotta have access, it's gotta have safety, et cetera. So they use these benchmarks to be able to evaluate that. And Mr. Hensley is already obligated to, they'll be looking at and reviewing it. And also we will too, over the next 30 to 60 days. Next is the Fire Chief Association. I was just going to give a board a update report on the SBA's, their request that came from the fire chiefs. They started with 60-some, and I think we're down to 42, and we got one that we're going to check on with the Belfast to make sure those numbers are right. Steve and I, Mr. Breeden and I attended the fire chiefs meeting, and this is one of the recommendations. We have to have this in and done by November. One of the good things that I did find out is, and it's good and bad, but they are on state contract, which I'll put a copy of the state contract that was in there. But even on my soft bids and quotes and searching out, I'm actually getting better prices out in the community than I can get off the state contract. So that's sad. So, but we're getting them in place. We're going to start that process. That'll be on the next agenda for an award of it, so we can get these back in place. Next is, it was brought up before, is the Pure Salmon Road Construction Contract. This is the VDOT grant, and one of the things that, and Mr. Breeden and many of the board members, Mr. Eaton and many of the board members, we're also concerned about pure salmon. It's been an in and out for 10 years. So one of the things that we're doing to make sure we're covered in due diligence is, first, we're making VDOT sign off on all this. Number 2, the Virginia Economic Development Partnership for the state of Virginia is going to sign off on this. Number 3 is, of the 950 that's obligated, 850,000 is a state grant approved by the Commonwealth Transportation Board on September the 17th in Salem District. So before the county, I'm getting to the short version, before we approve this contract, we're going to have everybody's signature on this thing to make sure that the county has protected what we have done to the date and through the years on this project. And we hope it's a viable project, but we've done our due diligence and protection. The other counties, what you're hearing investment is not what Russell County has. We have very little engineering cost in it to date, and we have watched this closely. So be assured, if it goes, if it can proceed, then and awarded, it will have all the checkoff boxes, and still we will have protection from the state if something goes awry. So,
Mr. Lester.
Yes, sir.
How much was that grant for VDOT on that road? Was it 850,000?
It's 850,000, yes, sir.
So how much did we approve in that meeting back a couple of months?
950. Yes, that was the resolution that I have in your packet.
So the coal severance money's 100,000?
It's 100,000. Now, the bids could come in lower, which, I hope they do. I'm not going to sit and speculate, and, I hate to talk numbers out there so they know how much money you got in the bank. But if it comes in lower, then it was this. But the second thing is, if it comes in higher, I will have to come back to the board for approval. I am not going beyond what y'all have approved if the bids come in higher. Y'all will have to approve this. This is just an FYI. We're going to watch it step by step all the way through the state process. That's a good question.
Lonzo? If you look on your resolution, it says 150, so is that just a typo? Is that just a?
Well, that was what the VDOT had recommended on the resolution. It went up from 850, and this is why I'm getting pre-approval. As we went through the process, actually, the state gave more money on it. And it actually went from 7 to 850. They actually gave more money on the project. So, but the point is, this is just an FI reporting. I will have the new numbers that the CTB approves. I will have their signature on it. and the contracts for y'all's approval again as the final product.
Mr. Chair, if I may. So on our resolution that we did on May the 13th,
Which
where
was $1 million.
it says the eligible project costs over $700,000 up to $1 million.
Yes,
And so we approved that
yes, ma'am.
with the thinking that we were going in at 800 or 850, right? And now we're at 950.
Well, when we put in the resolution, and as it went through the Transportation Board staff, they raised their amount of award. It went up to 850. As you can see in your packet, I think there's an explanation in there from the Lebanon residency that where VDOT raised their participation in this, which took away our cost. They moved it up to the maximum amount of $850,000 for participation in this project. Now, they estimated based off the bid and what was going to be done, and we're doing this project in 2 phases. So this is not just build a glorious road and then walk away. We're going to first, it's a 2-phase project, and I'm working with VDOT on it, is the first one is to get the construction road in, 8 inches aggregate, 4 inches of binder, get it open, get it up, and get them up to the hill to start working on the facility. That is the first agreement. The second phase will not be completed unless the first phase is done and facility starts working. So we've got triggers in these phases to make sure that we just don't build the glorious, commercial access road to this project and then walk away. What you gotta remember too is also this is a private developer. So the only thing that we're doing is, like I said, we have very little cost in it to date, and that VDOT's going to sign off on this, VDP's going to sign off on this, and the rest. But we're going to do also the phases in the project in a 2-phase project, so.
I guess what the bottom line is, like what people are asking is, our portion is only gonna be 100,000 instead of 150,000.
It could be less, yes.
So do you need to change this to say that our portion is only gonna be up to 100,000 in this resolution?
I do, but like I said in the previous statements, you're going to reapprove all of this again. This is changing as it went up the chain of command.
You'll have the final numbers.
Yes, you're going to approve
On the
the
bid.
final agreement, you're going to approve the final grant, you're going to approve the final contract. And you'll know exactly what is applicable as it went up, because as VDOT moved up the chain and started looking at this, they said, okay, if we take around this, it could go up or it could down. But I'm setting, as a county administrator, saying, okay, legally, this is the only thing I've got obligation for. That's as far as I can go. If the contract comes in higher, I have no choice but by law, come back to y'all and say, okay, it came in at 1.1. VDOT's only going to give 850,000 on this. They don't care if it comes in at 3 million. 850 is the cap. They did move it up to that. So.
I don't know, this may not even be in your scope of knowing, but, when you go up through there right below the college, you're looking at that little section there, and we're supposed to be paying for the turnoff lane. Is this amount of money cover moving all those utility poles, the electrical lines, all the internet, the telephone, all that? Is that going to be on somebody else's dime, or is that included in this amount?
That's in Pure Salmon's arena. What only this grant covers is what is on the proposed VDOT right-of-way. What that VDOT road is, that's the only thing that it covers is the construction of the proposed right-of-way that will be donated. What y'all gotta remember, this road, like any other economic development project, if you put in a commercial entrance, once it's approved, and there's VDOT inspectors, even on phase 1 and phase 2, that's gonna be watching this, and ours is too with Thompson Litton, that once that road is complete, it has to be to VDOT specs because it becomes a VDOT road and VDOT maintained. So really, only thing you're really legally doing is you're doing the conduit for economic development access on it, but it will be a VDOT asset. That ain't the county's asset. That will not be a county road. That will be a VDOT road. I hope that answered that.
I think so. I have another one. The Timmons Group, So you mentioned Thompson and Litton. So is the Timmons Group still involved in this? Because I got like 100 pages of
Yes, there's a,
design.
Thompson Linton is ours. That was the one that the 3 counties hired under the revenue sharing agreement, was Thompson Linton that was bidded out. They watch ours. They're our inspectors. So we're setting watch now. Now, Timmons Group is the pure salmon, and it's the private engineers.
Are they still on the job?
Yes, yeah, yeah. That plans that you have in your packet from the VDOT is VDOT approved road plans. Any more questions? Because I know there was a lot of concern about it, and we're very cautious on it too. Josh Becker shaking his head because he's my building inspector. He's up there all the time. So we know what the status is. So we're watching this very closely, step by step.
I think we're just as anxious as everybody else to see some actual foundation work begin, other than just moving dirt. So
Yeah.
after this road access is provided, then that opens it up for them to start their foundation work. Right, Lonzo?
Yes.
Yeah.
One of the roads on the front side, because they got an access road on the back side, but the problem is what is based off the materials, the trusses, and everything that's coming in. Those tractor and trailers cannot come around on that back side with that size of equipment that they say they're going to have to bring in to be able to gain access to the front. So this, phase 1, will get them in, get them working. If they're going to work, if they don't, we stop. Any more questions? Okay, now, next on the county administrator request, Josh, I'm gonna bring up him, and this is the Russell County Erosion and Sediment, and this is one of the things that we do on pure salmon continuously, is ordinance. And this is a change in the ordinance that I want to set up a public hearing for the next board meeting, and it is a request by the state of Virginia, new environmental control, so he's gonna go through a brief summary of what the changes are.
So I'm Josh Jensen. I'm the erosion sediment control inspector and plan reviewer for the county. For those of you who don't know, our last ordinance was actually signed in 2020. And what we go off of right now as far as inspecting and design is actually a code book that was published in 1992. So DEQ has worked continuously for years trying to get this code book updated. We have had, in 1999, there was a stormwater management handbook published. They've had B&P clearinghouses in 2013, 2011. What DEQ has done is they have combined all of this documentation into one digitalized code book. Anybody can access it on a phone, anything, internet, any way, any shape or form. That's the reason for the majority of our updates and our code changes to this ordinance. Everything in our previous ordinance referenced the 1992 Virginia Erosion Sediment Control Handbook. We're now referencing the Virginia Stormwater Management Handbook. All that's digital, everything else. If you've had time to look through the ordinance, we've cleaned up a little bit of language and a few things. And if you don't know anything about erosion sediment control, anything over 10,000 square foot of disturbance requires some form of plan or an agreement in lieu of. An agreement in lieu of is for a residential structure. We do not have that on farms as of right now. This new ordinance will allow that for a farm. So if you disturb over 10,000 square foot, less than an acre on a farm, you no longer have to have a plan to do disturbance on your farm. You can do an agreement in lieu of, you deal with me, we do erosion control measures. All that is implied in here. To qualify for that, though, you have to do a farm structure that is 5% of your overall parcel on the property. That's our major changes. They've added a few definitions, took out a few definitions, but most are within the state regulations and the state code as far as erosion sediment control. Anybody have any questions? That's the big changes we have. So.
You did a good job explaining.
And as we move through the development in these projects here, these come very important, a combination of E&S controls, soil and erosion, and stormwater management. On the pure salmon, just to give you an FYI, on the pure salmon, I think it's what, a 1 million cubic yard stormwater management system that's sitting on that piece of property, 1 million cubic yards. So, I mean, whether we do that or we're going in another, that, we gotta move forward and get these in place as soon as possible, so. And on any other projects, whether it's that or Alcoa or Simmons, even if they're up there moving around, when they break that 1 acre, we gotta have these in control.
You need a motion to have a public hearing?
Yes.
I'll make that motion to have a public hearing in regards to Josh's recommendations
When do you want to have that?
That will be at the October board
At
meeting,
the
sir.
October?
at the October board meeting.
Okay.
Second. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead, Lou.
All right, if we're in discussion, I'd like for, Mr. Wampler, can you look at I don't want us to be over restricting beyond state law our farmers. And if you can look that over, let's keep that as close to, I know we got the Clean Water Act and various laws in the state of Virginia. A lot of them come about from the Chesapeake Bay, which we aren't a watershed of, but we're still in the state of Virginia. So if you can look that over and just let me know, I don't know how the rest of the board feels at the next meeting, I'd appreciate that.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Hensley, happy to do that.
Any other comments or discussion on this matter? If not, all in favor of this motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign.
Thank you.
You're on it. Thank you, Josh.
Thank you, Josh. On the county administrator request, next is the Cumberland Mountain Community Service Board fiscal agent. I've got a request from the Cumberland Mountain Community Service Board, the CSBs. And historically, in the previous past, they had been their own fiscal agent. I mean, we have been their fiscal agent. That was done many years ago. Now, the Cumberland Mountain is, under new rules and regulations, et cetera, they're requesting a request for approval to become their own fiscal agent. This had to be approved by the counties of Buchanan, Russell, and Tazewell, since we're a multiple, this is within the Cumberland Plateau District, and Buchanan and Tazewell has already approved this. Now, from our perspective, and Rhonda will tell you this, we have to keep a lot of accounting for them, so we don't, it actually will reduce our requirements. We're what we call a fiscal agent, a fiduciary. It's a pass-through. We don't get nothing from it. We're just doing the work. So this is, let them go ahead, and I'm going to ask for them to become their own fiscal agent and their own accountability.
You need a motion to that
Yes,
effect?
yes,
Okay.
yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay, I'll make
Motion.
that motion.
I'll second it then.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to allow Cumberland Mountain Community Services Act as their own fiscal agent.
And I'll discuss a little bit with this. Basically, what it is, the state sends them their allotment, and we're supposed to match a 10%. Generally, that's what it is. And Alonzo has to ask for waivers for the services of our citizens. And basically, it's just gonna cut us out as the middleman. Instead of it coming to us, and then Lonzo turns around and fills out the paperwork and sends it back to Cumberland Mountain every month in a statement, they'll just get their whole allotment. It'll just go directly to them, and it'll cut us out as the middleman. That's
Yes, ma'am.
basically all it's gonna do.
Yes, ma'am.
Any further discussion? If not,
I'm
all in
sure
favor.
Alonzo has enough paperwork to keep up with, and I've actually talked to him about
I
that.
didn't make
So
any
I'm
money,
glad
Andrew,
if
I
we-
didn't make any money on this one.
If we're able to take a little bit off your plate, I'm glad to do it.
All in favor of this motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. There are none.
Thank you, Chairman. Next on the county administrator request is, again, this one is from the Community Service Board. This is the performance contract amendments for the FY 24-25. This is their agreement with us to provide the services to our citizens. This is an annual agreement, so I need a motion and approval. If y'all have had a chance to look through it, I need a motion and approval for approval on this
All
performance.
the other counties have already approved this.
Yes, sir.
So we're the last
Yes.
of
Yes,
the ones.
that is correct.
I'm on that board. I mean, I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve that agreement. Any discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, like sign. There are none.
Thank you, Chairman. Let me get through this agreement, it's huge. Okay, next on the county administrator request is, this is from the Heart of Appalachia Authority, the Board of Directors, for the request that for the Virginia Tobacco Revitalization Commission, the grant number 3464, the Three Rivers Destination Center, and the also the agreement with the Department of Community Development. They are requesting that we be the fiscal agent on this. They are near the completion and they're transitioning through their phase 1 and phase 2, what we call the little ARC. And the tobacco commissions on what they've got left, they've got a little bit of side development, and then it becomes, the county has a $1.5 million grant for the destination center that's in our name. They are just moving the procedures to move the paperwork so we can go ahead and proceed and transition to the big ARC grant that was given by the feds. So what this will do, this will just clean up the paperwork. The Tobacco Commission and the Department of Housing and Community Development have requested this, that this will be part of the transition process up to the big ARC as soon as the utility relocation is done, if it ever gets done by Verizon, Lord have mercy, but it will be done.
So you need a motion to accept this
I
grant?
need a motion to accept this to be the fiscal agent for the Heart of Appalachia with the Tobacco Regional Commission and the Department of Community Development.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of this motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. There are none.
Next on the county administrator request is, hang on a second. Litter pickup. Now where is that? Okay, now I'm gonna get the secrets out. Truck broke down. So. Yes. Oh, I gotta tell this one. So first of all, let me go through the agreement.
County owns several trailers, I feel.
Yeah, oh, you'd be amazed what they can and cannot do with the trailer. So I'll get into that in a second. This is a good one. So my first one on here is the litter pickup agreement, again with VDOT, which I don't know whether y'all know this or not. Let me explain to you. We work out agreement with VDOT. They pay for us to pick the trash up. The county's residents do not pay for that pickup. We do it with community workers, and VDOT pays the deputies to run the community workers and pays for this service. It's about $90,000 a year. They pay for this to get up, but my truck broke down. But anyhow, this is an agreement. We went back to them, and this was a review by the Sheriff's Department and the Virginia Department of Transportation on the deputies. I needed approval to move the agreement, the litter pickup agreement between VDOT and Russell County Sheriff's Department from $20 to $25 an hour for be able to get these things in and get this grant. I need approval.
You need a motion?
Yes,
for
sir.
it?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll do that. I'll make that motion for you.
And I'll give you a second, and I want to discuss this a little bit.
Okay, have a motion and a second. Open
Okay.
discussion now. Go ahead, Lou.
Well, I'm very appreciative to the litter pickup folks, and I hear Ms. Hess come and speak, and yes, we all see those lovely faded out
Bags.
orange bags.
We do.
Now, I have had a conversation along the way that if they had another vehicle or another trailer that they could be pulling at the same time that this is going on with the pickup, instead of leaving it on the side of the road, there's another sheriff deputy and somebody else with a bag. They just need some kind of a vehicle. Is that the one you got broke down?
Yes. Yeah, we've got,
Sheriff has a brand new pickup truck.
yeah, well, we could use that. We asked the same questions. It won't pull the trailer. That's a 16-foot trailer.
So with their money that we're getting to pay for this, is there a way to have the first row of folks are picking up the garbage and putting it in the bags and the tires and the bumpers and everything else that gets on the side of the road.
Okay.
And then there's another crew behind that is automatically coming behind them and
And picking
picking
up.
up and
That's
getting it
procedure.
off the road
All at the
immediately.
same time.
They've asked for that. I don't know where we are with that.
Yes, yes.
what Tazewell County's doing right now.
Yeah, and that's what that's what we're gonna be doing too, as soon as we get this truck.
We're
I'll
going
get
to,
it.
we're going to write this down and today's date that you said this.
Okay,
But you found another truck.
yes,
And
we
we're going
did.
to
Well, the
address that
sheriff's
here.
found another truck, yeah. Yeah, a litter truck.
So we
Here-
ran a rabbit, Mr. Chair. We didn't finish out the motion.
Yeah, who's got me off
All in favor of this
on
motion,
operations?
signify by saying aye.
I'll have to
Those
talk
lights.
to
Darn it.
the sheriff about the operations. Pick them up as you pick them up. How's that?
I mean, that's the way we do it at our homes. We don't take the garbage and set it at the door and leave it there 2 weeks. It needs,
Okay,
as they go through, pick it up, clean it up, and then haul it on out.
that's it.
Get it done.
Well, next motion is another one. It's on trash again. This is a quote, compactor quote, for the Dogtown site. We have duct taped, we have worked on this thing. It was actually a no compactor that was at the old Dogtown site. I think it, if I'm not mistaken, and Brian called in. This is a very antiquated site. We have duct taped it. The motor has burned out on it, so we went out with quotes on it, and I need a motion for approval for,
I make that
What-
motion, cause
what-
I know what it's cost.
Let's wait
well,
just a minute.
let me give me the company. It's gotta be for
Sorry.
fleet.
I'll hold that off.
David's gonna.
Oh,
Get back in.
sorry.
Let me, Alonzo, you've got
Yes,
two
sir.
proposals in here. Well, I know
Yes.
one's a 4-yard and one's a 3-yard. But that's a pretty healthy difference between the two.
Yes.
Which one are you wanting, the 3 or the 4?
Was an IFB that we went out for, so that's the lowest bid. In Mid-Atlantic, no disrespect if they're out there watching, but they bid the name brand. So, and we've tested the Fleet Genius of North Carolina. We're good with it. It's wore us out. I mean, for its money, it's almost double the cost. Our bids, the
Yeah,
variance
it's
is,
almost
it came in at 28,000. And that's where I was getting to. And one was 28,932.23, which is one I'm requesting to approve on the 3-yarder. So the 4-yarder, we're going to still try to work with what we got down there. So, and we're going to have the 3-yarder in place in case something goes wrong. But that one's $52,000, $52,529.70. So that's a big variance just for 1 cubic yard if we've got another one there. So we didn't want to get into that place. So it came with the warranties. It's got these quotes. It's just as good as project. We have tested them. So I'm asking a request to approve the Fleet Genius of North Carolina 3-yard compactor and receiver for $28,932.23.
Okay. I'll change my motion to that. You want the 3-yarder, is that correct?
Yes,
That's
ma'am.
what you want, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
But for that amount of money.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to purchase the, was it Fleet Genius, is it the name of it?
Fleet Genius of North Carolina.
28,932.23.
Yes, sir.
Discussion.
Discussion.
Oh, you're gonna get it now.
Oh, it's trash.
It is, isn't it? Okay, so I think that we have one on Mew Road that is a compactor that is out of whack also.
Yes, we're working on it too. And that'll be
Promise?
next. Yes, no, that's a not, I have no choice. That's gonna have to be, so.
Okay, does anybody else have a compactor they wanna throw into this while we're talking about our community? Because these are important things.
I'll tell you,
Go right ahead.
I've fussed about this quite a while as far as finding somebody that can do the mechanical type function work on these compactors to get them up running quicker, not letting them, because I think the guy out of Georgia was the only guy that was doing the work.
It was doing that. We have contracted, subcontracted, duct taped. We have done everything that we could done. Even my guys are even trained in motor replacement now and what we can do with hydraulics and what we can do. But it gets to the point, the age of these, like I said, the one at Dogtown, one at Mew Road, that's our next on our list, so.
Surely there's a a mining company here. I mean, we just landed a new company up here that does major hydraulic Simmons. You know, to have them maybe look at maybe doing a site visit and doing some sort of construction. I mean, I've seen, these guys can make anything, and they can build anything, you know, and it might be a good opportunity to have them look at these and develop and build a compacting unit, and we could sell them to everybody else too, all over the country.
Okay. You know, one of the things that mostly runs out on ours is the motors and the hydraulics. It wears them out. That
Was the
little
motor replacement that complicated?
Well, the motor, when you get to the cost benefit just between a rebuild or a new motor, after we have rebuilt, we have restripped, redone, and you end up with $10,000 into a motor in a heartbeat, and just on a rebuild. And you can look, you know, you can buy one for 28, and we've worked with this one for 20 years. So I mean, we've got our due diligence out of this compactor. Let me assure you, it works. So between the old Dogtown, it was one of the original compactors at the old Dogtown site, and now we've been here, you know, that's been done, 7 years now, just at the new site. So we've got our due diligence, and look, Ms. Wallace is correct. The Mew Road is, you know, it goes up, it goes down. She knows we're down there working on it. We duct tape it, we get it back up, get it together. So that is the next on our list. But I need approval for the 28,000.
Any
And,
further discussion?
Yeah, just a minute. How are we on the budget on all this?
On this,
Are we running a hairline budget on this?
I told Mr. Hensley that I was selling a piece of property to pay for his compactor. No, I'm teasing. No, we have to make the books bounce. No, I'm teasing. I don't mean to be facetious. Sincerely, based off our tonnage on our landfill accounts and our budget line items, we've got enough money in there to do this. We have no choice in this. I mean, if we go down, then you're going to get all the phone calls and they'll start diverting. But from the landfill account that we got, based off the volumes, and we watch it on a monthly basis on what our haul rates is and what we've got enough, you know, to be able to do this.
Regardless, we have to do it anyway.
And Mr. Hensley would tell you, and Nate would tell you, that we also have worked with the regional. We are not going to owe as much to the Regional Waste Authority, because we've also went back through their numbers and their audits, and there's a little bit of reduction. So there's a little bit of savings there too.
So one more thing, and I'm sorry, I'm dwelling on garbage this morning, but the sun site that we just recently put online, did that reduce some of the burden that we've been getting from other counties down there in my district?
Oh, absolutely, tremendously.
So we've saved
a lot of money.
We've saved a lot just by doing that one.
Yes, our tonnage, you know, we went from, and Brian will correct me tomorrow or Monday when I talk about this, but our travel trips and you know how many calls that you were getting. We were going 3 days a week. Now we go once. Now, Brian, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think right now we're down to one at the beginning of the week and one at the end of the week. So to be able to keep the volume. See, what y'all got to remember, on an open top, you can only get about 2.5 tons max. It depends upon the materials that's in that. Now that compactor goes down to a 10-ton capacity, so we can move it in. Second thing is that when you put the sites in man, like we're going to have to do a Honeacre next, I'm not getting a lot of outflow traffic like in Drill. I get Buchanan County and at the Sun side, no disrespect, Wise County was coming in off of those roads too, and out of Dixon County. So we were getting a lot of flow throughs. The good thing about Russell County, 7 counties touch our borders, but 7 counties come in our county. So we get a lot of through routes, and that's a lot on trash.
That's why we have to go to
Me personally, I'd like to see them stickers that you got in your office
I
put
have
on
been wanting
vehicles. I
those
know people don't want to decorate their vehicle, but it would save the taxpayers some money ultimately.
We had come up, and I even got one of the stickers. We even got it at the point, and I don't care if you put it up on your windshield or, you know, this, or just put it in front window, just lay it up there. Just that way we know that there's something there. But we could send them out with the tax tickets if everyone that has a car and you've got it registered, then if you got 2 cars registered, we give you 2 stickers, and it's free. That way it just says Russell County, so it's a Russell County seal.
And you've got those stickers on hand?
I've
now?
got that sticker, I've got the model made, and I can order them. I did not order them because the board had not made that motion, so they didn't make that policy, so.
Let's get a price on those and discuss that at the next meeting if we can.
Okay.
But when's the tax tickets go out?
Next month.
So
Oh,
will-
that's, yeah.
Will we even have time?
Well, that's,
You're
which
cutting it
tax
pretty
ticket
close.
you're referring to? Yeah, see,
Personal property?
yeah. Yeah,
Okay, any further discussion on the,
I'll take a look at it, see how fast we can do it.
if not, all in favor of this motion signify by saying aye. All opposed, like sign.
Like I said before, next on the county minister reports, or the VDOT report, was a resolution to abandon 791 Deep Forest Drive from the secondary system of state highways. This was a request by the, and posted, it was a request by the property owners, adjacent property owners on this. This is the, we posted this in the paper per the VDOT specs and the state guidelines. The board is satisfied that no public necessity exists for the continuance of secondary Route 791 Deep Forest Drive, 0.76 miles east of Route 742 to the end of state maintenance. The distance of 0.24 miles, which serves no public necessity and no longer necessary as part of the secondary system of state highways. I need a motion.
I'll make a motion, sir. Second.
Okay, have a motion and a second for the abandonment of 791 Deep Forest Drive. Any discussion on this issue? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. There are none.
Thank you, Chairman. Next on the county administrator request is the Town of St. Paul resolution, the Kyle Fletcher Bridge Memorial. For the ones that don't know, that this was the, and I'll let Lou speak, this was the mayor of St. Paul for many, many years, and, you know, he was well respected in the community, and the town of St. Paul has asked the Board of Supervisors, you know, in a letter of support for a requested memorial commemorative naming the Kyle Fletcher Bridge on the alternate 58 route coming into St. Paul. This bridge is located just west of the proposed Three River Destination Center. The town of St. Paul has provided the resolution and the naming and asked for your, approval.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to offer that motion, please, in honor of Kyle Fletcher.
Have a
Second.
motion?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion on this issue? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. There are none.
Thank you, Chairman. Next is the piece of property we're going to sell pay for Andrew's compactor. Not these, but it is a good choice. But, okay, this is the piece of property that, that we're looking at. This is the old American Legion building. They have disbanded. It's actually on Pioneer Drive above the high school. It used to be a little store, if I'm not correct, for historically. This is something that we've kept and maintained, and, we've got a lot of requests for it, but, this has a lot of potential for, a beauty salon, dog grooming. This has a lot of potential just as a little retail there, and there's a lot of volume that's on Pioneer Drive. Anybody goes to the high school, so it's definitely there. So I'm asking for this to be put on the treasurer's surplus of sale of property of the old American Legion building and land.
I'll make a motion so we can get enough money to take care of our trash at Copper.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on this matter? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. There are none.
Thank you, Chairman. Next on the county administrator request is the surplus of sale of property of the Russell County Sheriff's Office, the litter truck. So now we're getting into the truck. And the old 2008 broke down, so we're asking the surplus to sell it. I mean, the transmission was going bad in it and it wouldn't pull the thing. So we went to VDOT and we went to their auction and we got one for $8,500 off a VDOT auction, which has less than around 100,000 miles on it, which is a big 250, which is in great shape. VDOT did us a big favor and they give it to us at a reduced count of what they had to sell it for. Well, during the meantime, on the next board, on the 2008 Ford, so we bought the new one for VDOT off a state contract for 85. We sold the old one that was bad for 84. So we have $100 difference between the new trash truck and the old trash truck. I can't make this up, but I need approval. I need approval to surplus the 2008 Ford truck to the Sheriff's Department.
I'll make that motion.
Have a motion to surplus this truck.
Second.
And a second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. There are none.
That's the wheeling and dealing. Next on the county administrator reports and requests is the Bat Fest Southwest Virginia 4th Annual Event. This is on September the 28th, 2024. They have asked in y'all's package, for any donations or considerations for this festival that, this will be at the Lebanon Town Park in Lebanon on the 28th of September. So they're asking for any consideration or donation to assist with this. And as you can see from the letter, that they have give options for the board's consideration, and that is y'all's choice and pleasure. They have a platinum of, they have a gold standard of 500, silver of 250, you know what I'm saying? Or t-shirt spots are 75. So that's y'all's pleasure.
Did we fund this last year, Alonzo? I can't remember.
Yeah, we did.
I think we did, yeah.
What did we fund it at last year?
Was it 500?
I think it's 5.
Yeah.
I think it was 500, yes.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on that, but
I think,
I
it
think-
seems like it was, yeah.
I'll make a motion that we give them $500.
I'll s-
Second.
Have a motion and a second to donate $500 to the Vet Fest. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, like sign. I know there are none.
okay. Thank you, Chairman. 500 it is. Next one is a request from the Southwest Virginia Community College Festival of the Arts Program. They're asking also for a donation on this one. And it is that they're asking this one actually named out for $500 support on the program.
Don't we have that in the budget already, Lonzo?
That, I think, was one of the line items that, that's a good question. I think we did have, but I thought we no, it's in the budget. It's in the budget, so go ahead. I still need approval. Go ahead. Let me make sure. Hang on. Let me just check. Just wait.
Because I know we've normally given to them in the past, and I thought it was just kind of a
Okay, just
standard
hang on.
500.
If it's in
Mary
the budget
Lawson used to
already-
do it.
Yeah.
is what I was
If
thinking.
it's in the budget already, we shouldn't need approval,
Yeah, no,
should we?
no, you do not. And that's a good point. I wonder why they sent the letter in. Because when they put it in, donations. Lord, one piece. Where is an extension? Capital investment. There we go. Yes,
Up there, it's one, I think, what is it, 1, 2, 3, 4
see, y'all got very conservative this year.
I can't read anything, I can see the S.
500, yes, you do. I apologize. There is 500 on it. Yeah, number 4, Southwest Virginia Community College Festival, yes, $500.
And that's
Yeah.
April 21st through 28th of 2025, is that right?
Yes, April
Okay.
21st through 28th. Yes, sir.
What about this Eagle Scout
Yeah,
program?
that's what I was getting ready to talk about next. I think that we got an Eagle, yes, he's back here in the audience. Yes. Next is the Eagle Scout project fundraising request, is a request for financial support. You want to come up and talk about it?
I am Burton Casey. I'm with Troop 408. I'm a Life Scout working on my Eagle. I am trying to raise money to purchase a ballistic vest for Art, who is a canine with the Russell County Sheriff's Department. He does a lot of stuff with the Sheriff's Department. And I know the county spent a lot of money with them, getting them trained and everything. I'm trying to raise $1,300 to purchase the vest. I've raised around $500 so far.
Give him some money.
I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion to give him
I
$500.
can't make a motion, but I'm here. I'm with you.
I'll make a motion to give $500 for this cause.
I'll make a second.
Okay, 500?
I just think that is wonderful.
That's
That is a
Have
great,
motion
great thing.
and
Thank
a
you.
second to donate $500. All in favor of this motion, signify by saying aye.
I'll get a
opposed?
hold of you and I'll get this to you.
Thank you so much for
Thank you,
what you're
sir.
doing.
Yes. That concludes the county administrator reports and requests.
Okay, great. We come to the end where we do board discussion and reminders, okay? I'm gonna start at the other end this time, Andrew, with Nate. Let Nate go first. You got anything, Nate?
Usually I've got a few minutes to kind of pull my thoughts together here.
Andrew told you.
One thing, Mr. Wampler, I just have a real quick question. I should have asked this earlier. On that C-Corps contract, will we see that before it's finalized?
Yes. My mic's not working. Yes, you
We
are.
got you, okay,
Yep.
thank you. And then, you got me at a disadvantage here, Mr. Breeding, for a moment. I had a note here, but I don't know what I did with it.
Come back to you.
Yeah, give me just a minute. I'll try to figure out what it was. I'll ask for permission again.
I just have a couple of things. Lonzo, is the burn ban still in place?
Yes, ma'am, and
Do
we're
we
still
need
got
to relieve-
fires. No, we're
No?
burning. I've had multiple fires. I got one now that we keep rekindling in Cleveland. I got the
Okay.
fire department and the Department of Forestry sitting and watching that thing.
Okay, all right. Someone had just asked me about it. All right, and to follow up, I want to ask Mr. Wampler, please, to do review the solar ordinance. I want you to review more than Washington County. I want you to discuss battery storage, where are the batteries, where do they come from, the cost. Does AEP have to buy their electricity? Disposal of it, where is this industrial, commercial disposal? Life of it. You throw everything you can think of in there, including the dish rag out of the sink, any DEQ reports that are current. Our folks need to hear and understand everything that there is about a solar farm.
Understood.
And I guess I will hush for now.
Mr. Breeding, if you don't mind.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
I figured out what it was, but I will piggyback off of Rebecca. Also, solar disposal of the panels after end of life is extremely expensive. And I don't want to see that become a obsolete eyesore on the landscape of Russell County because it costs so much to get rid of them once they're in, that the landowner or the company, and all these solar companies, there's hundreds of them that have come into business and gone out of business, and then who's left holding the bag to get rid of these things? So that needs to be something that we put into our ordinance, that if a company's bringing it in, almost like a bond would be,
they have a bond on that that is sufficient enough to dispose of the materials after service of life. I think that's very important. Anyway, would like to see us explore the RFP for the auctioneer services that Ms. Vance requested. I would definitely think that that's something that we need to explore and see what needs to be done about putting that out for bid. And I think that was it. Okay.
David?
Yeah, I've got a couple of announcements here, thanks to Sandy, let me know about. There's gonna be a benefit gospel singing for Harvest Child Care Ministries. Just a second, okay, you got me, thank you so much, Terry. September 28th, 2024, Russell County Government Center, there'll be a dinner at 4 and singing at 5. Have a host of singers, Labor of Love, Gospel Union, Johnson Family, Eddie Street, the Hubbard Family, special guest Larry Robinson. So everybody put that in your calendar. The next thing I have is we have an absolute critical election coming up in 59 days. I want everybody to be much in prayer about this. Our people are struggling with high cost of inflation, power bills, food. I get calls all the time wanting assistance and help. And as you all well know, we can only do so much, and it's continued to get worse and worse and worse. So, you know, we have a critical election coming up in 59 days, and we need to really focus on trying to get our country back and our nation under control. And I just want to let everybody know that. Don't cry and whine about it. Get out and vote.
Mr. Lester, we had talked, probably a couple of months ago about picnic tables for Cleveland. Where are we at on that?
I will check with my staff.
Okay.
We had ordered it. I'll make sure Terry's got them.
Gotcha, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Also, you know, at the beginning of the year, we had talked about changing out some people on the committees and boards and whatnot, and, you know, I did that today with one. But I encourage people to apply for these committees and boards, and I also encourage the board to look at the people that are applying and, you know, make some decisions on that. You know, if you're interested in a board, you think you might be a good fit, please do apply. Another thing I want to touch again on today is transparency and accountability. We need systematic accountability and reportability in every department, I think. Anything that accepts our citizens' money and follow up with standard audits by the county. I'd like to see us come up with some sort of reporting guidelines for each department then I'd like to get them on a schedule to be quarterly, semi-annually, yearly, whatever we need to be, just to keep the board, and not just the board, but the citizens aware of what's going on. I spoke with our new librarian, and she was very excited yesterday about coming in quarterly and talking to us about her vision, her plans, you know, what's going on in the library. And I think that would help us in other areas within the county. You know, we can't always know everything that's going on, but if they would come and report to us, I think that would help us keep our finger on the pulse a little bit more, as well as the community. Because, you know, at the end of the day, it's your tax money. We take it, we divvy it up, but they spend it. So you need to know, as citizens, I'm sure you want to know how it's being spent and on what. So that's just a suggestion. I don't know how we, you know, figure that out, but I'm going to throw that out there to y'all, and y'all think about it, and you know what I mean. So that's all I got.
Lou?
I don't have anything. Thank you all.
Andrew?
I was asked to share this about a fundraiser in Castlewood. It's basically right in between mine and Lou's district, over next to Temple Hill Cemetery. It's at the Learning Center. It's going to be the 7th annual Hog Heaven Barbecue Pig Roast. They're going to have gospel music, be the Hubbard family, cornhole, hay rides, good food and fellowship. Bring a lawn chair. So anybody that likes to come out to that, that's going to be the 21st of this month at 5 o'clock. That benefits the Learning Center at Castlewood, so that's a Christian school there. And next thing is we had our coal road meeting, and there was $100,000 approved some point last year for Route 615 and 621. That was gravel lick. Have we got VDOT what they need on that so they can start their work?
Yeah, we're in the process of approving the bids right now.
Okay, so we've got that looked at, but I've talked to several of you, these others that's reach out to me about different things on the roads, but I've talked to Jeff and I probably sometime within the next 2 weeks, gonna go look at some trouble spots that VDOT knows of. If anybody's got anything on their mind, let Lonzo know, shoot me an email. I can forward it along to Jeff and he can maybe look at it before we even get together. And, but if you can do that, I'd appreciate it. And, that's all I have, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I'll just sort of take off on where David mentioned. This election coming up is really going to be critical. I mean, it's, I look at it, it's almost like a battle between good and evil, I worry about our people here on a local basis. You think about some little old lady and a little old gentleman that farmed all their life and they're living on a minimum Social Security. I don't see how they can, it's just beyond me how they can get by. And I know there are times when they have to make hard decisions about whether they buy medicine or food, and we need in the worst way to figure out how to help those people, and inflation is just continuous. I mean, you can see it every time you go to the grocery store, that bag of groceries is about twice what it was, 4 years ago. So, I would urge everybody to be in prayer daily for this situation. And it starts here, it goes on a state level, and then all the way into the federal level. One impacts the other. There are things going on now in Russell County that I never thought I would see. Things that probably several years ago were in Chicago and Oregon and Washington and things of those nature, But, I think prayer is probably the answer to it. It's the only thing I know to do right now, quite frankly, is just to pray about it, put it in God's hands. I don't know, I have that feeling that I don't know if there's much we can do about it, as an individual or even as a county sometimes. But I know God can do all things, so I would just urge everybody to be in prayer and try to help your neighbor. We're doing some things now. David and I went to, and Lonzo went to, we're looking at trying to generate some affordable housing. We see over the next few years the potential to pick up, several hundred new jobs. And we don't have any place for these people to live, There's no houses being built, and I know why. The contractor tells me it's $250 a square foot, and that's been a year ago. It's hard to tell what, it may be $350 by now. And, which tells me 1,000 square foot home, which is small, it's gonna be $250,000. It's beyond anybody's reach right now with the way we are. We've got to work on getting salaries up. We've got to work on getting the costs down. We looked at some modular housing, which is actually stick-built, but it's built inside of, under controlled conditions inside. And I was pretty impressed with it, weren't you? I mean, this is up in Wileysville, Virginia, up on the south side. We told them just come on down here and we'll find them a big building and they can build them down here. And I would really like to pursue that, tell the truth about it, because they had 2x6 studs in these things and double plated on the side. I mean,
The cost was this.
cost was what they run them out the door for is just unbelievable. It was probably in the $50 a square foot range, So there's certain things you have to have a foundation to put them on, but they do appreciate. It's a stick-built house. It's not like a double wide, a mobile home or anything. You have to do certain electrical things and certain plumbing things, and you have to provide for water and sewer hookup and heating, HVAC. But it's minimal as compared to the cost of having it under roof. So we're going to be looking at things like that in the next few months and try to come up with something. There's a housing study that's going on right now through the Cumberland Plateau Planning District Commission. It's in all 4 counties. So we're doing a tour on this, and hopefully we'll be able to come back and report, some findings on what we find out, and maybe even come up with a project or two. Well, we'd like to have a couple $1 million and start to even build some of these houses somewhere, and just, they're doing a project similar to this in Marion, and they found that once it got started, it kind of self-perpetuated. It, you put the houses out, you sell them at a reduced rate, but you still make money because you got grant funds to do a lot of it. You put it back into the program, and it just sort of, eventually, you would hope you'd get to the point that it'd be self-sustaining. So we're trying to look at stuff like that, things that are going to help the community in a big way. But any suggestions you've got, contact one of us and let us know. You want to answer us questions, talk to us, just ask. I don't know what kind of mechanism we can do it. I want to do it in the worst way, but when you get a big crowd together and somebody asks a question and that precipitates another question, somebody yells that back here, it can go helter-skelter really quick. We just have to figure out a platform to do it under. We're working on it. That's all I have. All I need is a motion to adjourn.
I'll make it.
Second.
And all in favor signify by saying aye.